Hello, good morning friends. Myself, the Allowaces Mistry. I am Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department in Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, which is situated in Navsari. Today we are going a presentation on pattern allowance. Okay, first we discuss about the pattern allowance. What is pattern allowance? A pattern is a larger in a size as compared to the final casting because it carries certain allowance due to a metallurgical and mechanical reason. For example, shrinkage allowance is the result of metallurgical phenomena where the machining, draft, restoration, sag and other allowance are provided on the pattern because of mechanical reason. This is the pattern allowance. The types of pattern allowance, the various pattern allowance are used. There are mainly 5 types of patterns allowance. First one is shrinkage or contraction allowance. Second one is machining or finish allowance. Third one is draft or taper allowance. Fourth one is restoration or camber allowance. And fifth one is sag or wrapping allowance. Let's see, first one is the shrinkage allowance. As a metal solidify and cools, its shrinkage and contraction in a size. To compensate for this, a pattern is made a larger than a finished casting by means of shrinkage or contraction allowance. Contraction is different for different metal. Wood pattern used to make a metallic pattern are given double allowance, one for the shrinkage of metal of the pattern and the other for that the metal to be cast. The total contraction is volumetric, but the shrinkage allowance is added to the linear dimensional. Almost of cast metal shrink or contracts volumetric on cooling. The metal shrinkage is of two types. First one is a liquid shrinkage and second one is solid shrinkage. The first one is liquid shrinkage. What is liquid shrinkage? It's referred to the reduction in volume when the metal changes from liquid state to solid state at the solidest temperature. To account of this shrinkage, riser which feed the liquid metal to the casting are provided in the mold. It's called a liquid shrinkage. And second one is the solid shrinkage. It's referred to the reduction in volume caused when metal lose temperature in solid state. To account for this, shrinkage allowance is provided on the pattern. The shrinkage allowance for various metal. Let's we start a material and shrinkage metal in First material is grey cast iron. The grey cast iron, the shrinkage metal in is 0.0105. White cast iron 0.01602 0.0230 mm. Aluminium is 0.0130 mm. Brass is 0.0155. Copper is 0.0160. Lead is 0.0260. Magnesium is 0.0130. Then the metal shrinkage are depend upon the cast metal or alloy, the pouring temperature of metal or alloy. Third one is casting dimensional. Fourth one is casting design aspect. And fifth one is molding condition. Molding material are mold and method employed. This is the shrinkage allowance. Next is machining allowance. In machining allowance, for good surface finish, machining of casting is required. For machining extra metal are need. This extra metal is called a machining or finish allowance. The amount of this allowance varies from 1.6 to 12.5 mm, which depend upon the types of casting metal, size and shape of casting method casting used, method of machining to be employed and the degree of finish required. This allowance is given in addition to the shrinkage allowance. Then it's a casting is given an allowance for machining because casting get oxidized in the mold and during heat treatment, scale etc. Thus the form need to be removed. It is the intent to remove a surface roughness and other infrastructure for the casting. Then third one is the it is required to achieve a exact casting dimension. Then surface finish is required to the casting. How much extra metal or how much machining allowance should be provided depending on the factor list in below. The first one is nature of metal, size and shape of casting, the types of machining operation to be employed for cleaning the casting, casting condition and molding process employed. This is the machining process to a depend of factor are in machining allowance. Then the third one is draft and taper allowance. In draft or taper allowance, the at the time of withdrawal, the pattern from the mold, the vertical face of the pattern are continual contact with the sand, which may be damage the mold cavity. This danger is greatly decreased if the vertical surface of the pattern are tapered inward slightly. The slightly taper inward on the vertical surface of the pattern is known as a draft. The taper provided by the pattern maker on all vertical surface of the pattern so that can be removed from the sand without tearing away the side of the sand mold and without excessive wrapping by the mold. Figure shows a pattern having no draft allowance being removed from the pattern. In this case, till the pattern is completely flipped out, its sides will remain in contact with the wall of the mold, thus the tends to the break it. This is the show figure of the taper in design. The first figure is the vertical surface and second one is the taper for the in surfaces. Figure in illustration of the pattern having a proper draft allowance. Here the moment of pattern lifting commands all its surface are well away from this sand surface. Thus the pattern can be removed without damaging the mold cavity. Next is the fourth one pattern allowance is distortion and camber allowance. In this shape of the casting change that it's called a distortion of the casting. A casting will be destroyed or warped if a casting it is in irregular shape. All its parts do not shrinkage uniformly. Some parts in shrinkage will while others are restricted from during. So it is a U or V shape. It has a long flat casting. The arm possesses unequally thickness. Distortion can be practically eliminated by providing an allowance and contraction. The pattern initially destroyed for U-shaped casting leg will be diverted, so we make the pattern having legs converging so that the after casting the product is having a leg parallel. So in figure first figure is on required shape of casting. The first figure is destroyed casting in the U shape and the camber in the also U shape. Then the so in figure first is U shape casting required shape of casting produced with the distortion pattern provided with the camber. So in figure first, second and third. Then last one is the sec allowance. In sec allowance, when a pattern is wrapped in the mold before it is withdrawn, the cavity in the mold is slightly increased. So in order to compensate this, pattern is made a slightly smaller than the actual. This allowance is called shrink or wrapping. An allowance expect sec or wrapping allowance are positive, but wrapping allowance is negative. The magnitude of shrink allowance can be reduced by increasing the taper. A pattern is sec or wrapping by striking the same with the wooden piece from the side to side. This is done so that the pattern a little is loosed in the mold cavity and can be easily removed. Then the pattern color. In pattern color are important certain colors and shade. In order to first identify quickly the main body of pattern and different parts of the pattern. Indicated the types of the metal to be cast. Then third one is identify core prints, loose piece, etc. Then visualization of surface to be machined. The patterns are normally printed with the construction color such that the mold maker would be able to understand the function clearly. The code used in the five types of pattern color are used. First one is red or orange, second one is yellow, third one is black, fourth one is yellow strips, and fifth one is green. Let's we use the color code is used. First one is red or orange on a surface not to be finished and left as a cast when it is used red or orange. When yellow or second one is yellow on a surface to be machined when it is used a yellow color. Third one is a black on a core prints for unmachined openings when it is used black color. Then fourth one is yellow strips on a black on core prints for machining opening when it is used yellow color yellow strips. Fifth one is green on a sheets and loose piece and loose core prints when it is a green color are used. In this video we are discuss two topics. First topic is pattern allowance and second is the pattern color. In GTU exam most MP question two topics are and ask in 4 marks and 7 marks and ask in a GTU exam paper. Thank you.